Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing the cleaning routine of my 54-liter Neocaridina planted tank. You can see one of the Neocaridinas already excited about the cleaning. I'm showing everything from cleaning the glass, removing some of the plants, planting in some new plants and topping off the water in this video. First step in our cleaning routine today is first of all unpacking this magnet here to clean the glass of the tank. I did it with a razor blade before, but I noticed that there were some smaller scratches in the glass of my tank, and to prevent that I got the floaty 2 from JBL, which apparently the inner part of the magnet doesn't fall down on the ground and then gets dirty with the sand and then also scratches the window, but apparently it floats when you put it in. I want to check it before I start using it. That was a little bit too firm. Next time I will do that more softly. But yeah, apparently it floats, which is super cool. And my shrimp are looking forward to getting some cleaner glass here. You can see one of the buried females here with the saddle in the back, meaning she's close to give birth to her eggs. And here is one of the new arrivals, a red Riley shrimp. Absolutely gorgeous animal. I think it's a male because it's smaller than the other ones. And there in the back you can see a female in the deep orange coloration. Here again, the one that is definitely pregnant, and so many more. Right, before I clean the glass with the floaty 2 from JBL, I want to get all of the snails away from the glass. So I don't want them to get stuck between the floaty and the glass and then get crashed. Not only to protect the glass, but also to protect the snails, right? They are my pets as much as my fish and my shrimp are, and I'm happy that these snails are in there. It's bladder snails, by the way, so Physella acuta is the scientific name, if you want to Google them or get them yourselves. They are native to Europe, to Germany, to the region where I'm from. Somehow they got into the tank, and I really love them because they actually help me, yeah, keep this tank clean, so I don't want to hurt them. Um, yeah, you see that using this floaty creates a little earthquake, so to say. The fish and the shrimp don't really seem to like it that much, so you can definitely see that they swim away from it. Um, the shrimp don't seem to bother too much. They're usually more of a chill species, but the guppies seem to be a little bit afraid. And that's definitely something where the razor blade technique had its advantage because it doesn't move the tank as much. You can really see I'm even holding the tank here, because it's creating a lot of movement for the fish here. Sorry, I had to take a sip of tea. Um, but actually, it works quite well. I didn't expect that it would work that well. The glass is really getting cleaner. I mean, it wasn't that dirty before I started cleaning it, but it's really doing its job, and it's not that expensive. I think it's 7 euros or something if you purchase it on Amazon. Um, and yeah, it's doing its job basically. I've seen way more expensive ones, but I think if this one is doing its job, why bother getting another one? Now I'm also cleaning this side glass of the tank here, and the other side I'm also cleaning a little bit, not as thorough as the front glass though, because I rarely look at the through the side glasses, or through the side glass, and I never clean the back of the tank because I actually want biofilm to form there, since it's a free food source for my animals. They really love it. It's fresh food for them, and why bother then? Let's unfortunately get rid of some of the plants. It's getting too crowded with plants. So although there's no CO2, there's no filter in there. That's just the pump that's moving the water, and no what's it called, fertilization, so no liquid fertilizer, whatever, the plants are growing insanely. This is due to the fact that I have a light in there, and also um, I put some aqua soil in there, so no liquid fertilizer, but yeah, physical or solid fertilizer, so to say. And of course, the plants that are degraded over the months and over the year, over the last year, by the animals, so the fish, the shrimp, and the snails, they create sort of a fertilizer by themselves. So no need for liquid fertilization at all. You can see the result or the proof of that here quite clearly. I would say it's green, doesn't get any greener than that. So I don't see the need, at least for those plants that I have in there, to use liquid fertilization or CO2 fertilization. It's not unnecessary. The plants that I'm taking out here are hygrophillas, so Hygrophila corymbosa stricta. On the left hand side, where my hand is currently at, you can see Cryptocoryne undulata. Um, they are doing exceptionally well. And this thick root here, I think, is from the Monstera plant that is growing on the left side. You cannot see it because my beard is in the way, but there's a Monstera plant growing out of the tank and an ivy plant. And now you see why I'm pouring out all of these plants in the foreground here, to make some space that you can see the hardscape again, and for algae to grow on the hardscape. It's probably better for the shrimp if I left in the plants in the tank. That would be better for the shrimp, because they love the cover. I'm not so sure about the guppy fish because they also need some space to swim. Especially females need space to escape the very active male guppy fish, because the mating activity stresses them quite a lot, I must say. So they need some space to hide and some space to swim. If you know where I'm getting at. That's why I get rid of most of the plants in the foreground here, and also they are not really supposed to be in the foreground because you as an aquarist, you want to see all of the different spots in your tank, right? And if you have plants that are supposed to be background plants that really grow large, I mean, the hygrophillas grow out of the plant, you can see it back there. Um, if you have those, uh, if you have those, they will block they will cover your view of the rest of the tank, and that's what you want to prevent, right? So after the light fell into the tank. None of the fish got hurt, none of the shrimp got hurt, I promise. And the light is supposed to be working in wet conditions, so it doesn't really matter. Well, it's not that big of a thing. Let's dry it up here in the front and then take care of the remaining plants. Next, I wanna trim back the hygrophila plants in the back there a little bit. I actually like that they are as big as they are. They take away a lot of nutrients from the tank, so any excess food that is, yeah, or any food that is converted into animal poo, will be absorbed by them as a natural fertilizer, and this is actually one of the best reasons for having a lot of plants in your tank. I have some free floating ones in there as well. I leave them in there because they give additional, how to say, coverage for my shrimp and for my guppy fish, especially the younger ones who really like when they have a lot of cover and they just feel safer that way. What you can also see in the middle of the tank, right behind the hardscape, right behind this, how's it called, the root, is the Java moss. You can't see it that well at the moment. One of the shrimp is hanging on it. And that's what I want to change. I want to have the Java moss growing over this root here a little bit. And Java moss is really the perfect breeding ground for young guppies, young shrimp, basically all young animals love these very granular, small I don't even know if you can call it leaves, but segments of the Java moss, because they can hide in them, and it's just perfect for them. Then these plants here, I forgot their name. They apparently have developed quite good roots, but they don't really grow at all in this tank. I think it might have to do with the light situation. The ones that are on the left here are doing a little better, so I'm leaving them in there for some more time. But these ones, I'm going to use them for my large ecosystem tank, because the light situation in there is a little better, I would say, or I hope. And there's way more substrate in the bigger tank. So in this tank here, I only have a little aqua soil as a base layer, and then sand. And above, as mentioned before, I have and there you just saw the blue Neocaridina shrimp, blue dream shrimp. Um, Above, I have, of course, the natural nutrients that have, yeah, that have developed on there naturally, but you definitely cannot compare the nutrient layer in my 100 species ecosystem tank with 250 liters to the nutrient density in this tank here. I'm going to insert some of these smaller foreground plants here. It's called Hemianthus calitrichoides. I try to grow out these plants in like a grow out setup, which is just a tank with some aqua soil in it. And I didn't have a very good experience with them in my larger tank, in the 100 species ecosystem tank, but I'm trying to insert them in this tank, and hopefully they will do well. You can also see you can also see my hair now, because I'm not really good at taking videos, and I'm experimenting with my new camera with the GoPro 13 here. But yeah, I'm sorry for this little hair here. Anyways, I inserted the Hemianthus plants now in the foreground as well, and the huge advantage of having foreground plants, of course, is that they will never grow up to a height that is annoying for you to view the whole tank. Now, last step is, well, not the last step, but the next step before the last step is topping of the water. So I didn't do a water change here. I usually don't do many water changes at all, because the water is fine, and if you have a lot of plants in there, they absorb all of the excess nutrients, all of the nitrates, all of the stuff that is in the animal poo that you don't want to have in your tanks. That's fertilizer. That's stuff that you want to have in your tank. And all of the beneficial bacteria that are in there are good for your fish, are good for your plants. So you don't want to get rid of it. That's why I don't think you should do too many water changes. And if you look at some even very large YouTubers, like Luke Goldies, for instance, I really love his videos. I love his YouTube channel, but it's very hard for me to watch his fish living in tanks that don't have any plants in there, maybe some plastic plants, and where he does water changes every week 3 times, or like every month 3 times. I don't remember correctly, but for me that's very hard to watch even, because it's completely unnatural. It's almost like factory farming, which is also very unnatural, and I really don't like it. As I said, nothing against Luke Goldies or something. I really recommend also watching the channel. It's very interesting to see how he grows his goldfish and stuff, but not my type of keeping fish at all. Yeah. Now you can see how the how the shrimp and the guppy already are exploring their new free space that they can use to swim. And also, what is quite interesting, at least I think it's quite interesting, is that you have this, like in the winter, the water evaporates very quickly because the air is very dry, at least here in the area in Germany, that's the case. So you have to top off your aquarium in the winter at least like once per week, otherwise you get these ugly looking white spots on on the top of your aquarium glass, which is just I think calcium carbonate or something that is accumulating there. Doesn't look very nice, and yeah, also there's a different kind of biofilm obviously growing there in this transition zone. It's like a little bit like a tide zone, I think, in the ocean or in bigger lakes, um, where there's sometimes water and sometimes not. That's how I imagine it. And I think the shrimp and the fish, they also think that it's interesting. They always try to nibble at everything and eat everything, which is also the case here. And for them, it's, I think, just something a little new, another taste again, and they seem to really appreciate it. Also, I usually, because my tank is completely turned off during the night, so the lights are turned off. Obviously, the pump, not there's no filter in there, but the pump is turned off, and also the heater is turned off because I have one timer for all of that, and I didn't have any problems with it. So if you can save some electricity, why not do it this way? But through that, the tank cools down overnight a little bit, just some degrees, but still, if you put your hand in there, it's relatively cold, I would say, which is not bad for the animals. The animals tolerate it. They did that in the last winter as well. Was no problem. But what I like to do is use a little bit of um, warmer water. Um, so it's also a different feeling for them. Not very different, not to stress them, but just a little warm for them during the winter. Last step, and there you need to be careful, is using some glass cleaner, just normal glass cleaner from the supermarket or from the DIY store to get the glass a final cleanup to just make it more appealing. Also, it's important to keep the glass clean if you have your tank close to a window at your place. This will lead to how would I call it? This will make the sunlight go through easier and allow for even more photosynthesis. Right? If it's dirty, it's more difficult for sunlight to get through, thus preventing yeah preventing photosynthesis to happen and slowing down plant growth, which is which all are things that I would like to prevent, and therefore yeah I just clean it. But it's super important to emphasize this. You should never put even a small drop of glass cleaner or any other um, unnatural cleaner in your tank. This will this will be so terrible for your fish. Probably they would instantly die, not instantly, but after some time, you kill all of your bacteria, microfauna, and that's why it's very difficult to, or very crucial to not let this into the tank. Of course, never clean the inside of your tank with that stuff either. I think that goes without saying, but maybe if you are someone who's setting up his or her tank for the first time, maybe you don't know that. But just so you know, you would also not drink the stuff, and then you shouldn't put it in your tank. Um, that's it for my little intermediate cleaning routine. I want to show you guys in the next scene some footage of my shrimp, like 1 hour after I cleaned the tank, and right after I fed them. I think it's quite beautiful. Here you can see them from a close up perspective. One of the one of the orange sakura shrimp, or actually two of them, just feasting on that biofilm that is growing on the root system, and they are just beautiful. I mean, they've reproduced so well. They are absolutely beautiful crustaceans. I hope they will mix with the blue dream shrimp and the red ridey shrimp. I'm super curious to see what's coming out of them. Think I saw one of the blue dream shrimp buried before, um, meaning the female had small dots on the saddle on their back. Not sure if she will give birth, but I think the conditions in this tank are perfect for Neocaridina davidi shrimp to give birth to the offspring. So fingers crossed. I hope it will work out. And I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this video. Do you like the setup? Do you approve or agree with my points, or do you have different opinions? If that is the case, please drop them in the comments section. I'm always curious to hear different perspectives. Also curious to hear your perspective on my take on water changes. Are they good? Are they bad? How often do you change your water in your tanks? It's always interesting to discuss these things. And if you want to see where the small Hemianthus offsprings that I took out of this tank go, in which tank they go, please click on this video now. It's my largest tank with 17 species so far, and the goal is to put 100 species in there. Thank you guys.